What do you mean you don't know where we're going? I thought you were driving. Said everybody all the time on every road trip. Because normally I drive in our road trips.
And I'm the passenger princess.
Woohoo! What's up, guys? My name's Jeff. That's my wife. Today we are going to talk about vision boards. We'll be right back.
What year is it again?
All of that really is my wife.
Should I leave?
And we're going to roll an intro I haven't made yet, but hopefully it looks good.
Your voice changes when you do that.
Still married, I think.
Oh my gosh.
How are you?
Fabulous.
That's wonderful. So today we're going to talk about creating a vision board. And some of you are like, really? We're going to get crafty? You don't have to be crafty. But we're going to do our uncommon question.
If you could add 2 hours to the day, would you rather have 2 extra hours in the morning or 2 extra hours at night?
Based on my work schedule, I'd rather have 2 hours in the morning.
That's fair.
But, like, not work related, I'd rather have 2 extra hours in the afternoon or evening.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Because if I had 2 more hours in the morning, I feel like I'd be at work more. But I think I like the idea of 2 hours more at night for the fact that, like, I could spend two more hours with my kiddos, 2 more hours with you. Mm-hmm. So that's my thought.
Cool. All right. Vision boards.
Yes.
Not just cutting up pictures and making poster boards, but about being intentional about family, financial, personal, and professional goals as a team. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So whether you've been married for a year or 18, sitting down together creates alignment, excitement, and unity. Some people call them strategy meetings. Mm-hmm. We call them strategy meetings. There are monthly check-in, and we use business words, right? Because these are business words, but they work, right? And like, it sounds weird to use business terms in a marriage, but having a strategy meeting, so that we both know where we're going and how to get there, and then checking in on those goals is a big deal. So, thoughts on vision boards?
I love them. And don't get me wrong, I love busting out the glitter and the glue sticks. And the crafty piece of it. But at the end of the day, like, I think that's how we've been able to accomplish so many things. Even though you and I have not sat down and like cut out pictures and all these other things, we've definitely had alignment on all of these big things. Like, we've been able to set down goals of, we want to take this big vacation, or we want to be able to have the opportunity to do these different things because we're aligned and we're working towards one goal. Thinking recently, like, I don't know about everybody else out there, but our kids have way too much stuff. And oh my gosh, it drives me absolutely bonkers. I feel like I'm hearing a hallelujah from all the parents out there. But last year, we really pushed our families to think about doing more experience-based presence. Like, I don't want to ever tell my family or someone who wants to invest in my child that, no, you can't do that thing. But really just thinking about, like, can we be more purposeful with our presence so it's not just, another McDonald's toy. And, not a knock on anyone that likes to buy stuff for their kiddos, but we are adventurers at heart. Like, we're wanderers. And so my kids are going to be learning how to scuba dive. And my kids are, there's a trampoline park near us that they got a membership to. And so just being able to be intentional with some of these things that we're doing with our lives came from our strategy meeting. Mm-hmm. And our vacations, like, we're planning a big trip next year, and we're saving up towards it. And, this also allows us to, like, is it worth just going, or could we be purposeful about maybe getting a bigger room or a room in this area instead of this area? And because we're on that same wavelength, we're working towards that same goal. And I think especially times where we've had some frustrations in our lives, it's always, every single time, it's always because we weren't on the same page. And I think that's why, especially in the more recent years, we really pushed to be on the same page. Talking business wise, like you really should have goals, short and long term, because, you know, if you want to be the boss of the company one day and you're, you know, still entry level, how are you going to get there? And so vision boards really help you to kind of plan out those steps of, okay, in 10 years, I want to be here and I'm going to take these steps along the way. And, you know, really just kind of thinking through, like if you had a vision that you want to accomplish in 5 years, I want to have my degree, or I want to be able to do this, or I want to open my own business. Well, guess what? That's what you're working towards. And so it's going to help shape not just the big decisions, but the small decisions as well.
Sure.
And it helps keep you motivated. So I will keep talking about the vision boards because I'm super passionate about them, but go ahead.
That's funny. So visual representation of shared dreams and goals is what we're talking about. And visual, like, it doesn't have to be like a giant poster board. They can't see it, but the best description that I have of a vision board for us is this, which this is part of, right? Our life, our story, our home. That's us. And it's all parts of our stuff. Like, you know, our kids, we teach that their only job right now is to get good grades.
Yes.
Yes, they have to do chores. Yes, they have to keep their room clean, all that stuff. But what they do, their role every day is to do the best they can at school. But this big wall behind us is pictures of all the places we've been and different activities and things we've done. And that's just a reminder that we need to replace the pictures or add more. And so it's like, so what's next, or where are we going? Or like on my lock screen, I said this at church the other day and nobody believed me. And so I had to show it to them. On Saturdays, it's a picture of us, but on the rest of the days, I don't want to do that. My lock screen says systems, not goals. And so it's a ladder, and you guys won't be able to see it, but on this side, it's you build
Steps.
your way up to something, and one side is just healing. But the one next to it is be patient, progress takes time. And so when I think of vision boards, I think that when you see where you want to go, the patience will happen because you know it's going to take time to get there, and that you can take time to set your goals. Like if you're a newlywed and you're living in a 2-bedroom apartment in a questionable part of town and you want to move, you have to set goals to get there. And you're like, well, Jeff, I don't know what goals I'm supposed to do. You talk to a lender, right? We talk to a lender, and let's say, here's the steps. Do these things, and in so many months, we can try again. And so we did those things. We messed a couple of them up along the way, but we did these, like, do these things in this order, and then a year from now, we'll try again. And it was like 14 months. Maybe it wasn't exactly a year, but it was a year and a couple of months. We were able to buy our first house. Or, my debt-free scream is bright yellow. After we did the Financial Peace University and we went through and we paid off all of our debt the first time, we both had different things we wanted to do, and I went and got a bright yellow car.
Yep. Well, that was like the second time because Rona.
Yeah. Jobs, life, it happens. The second time. Vision boards look different for each person. Like in my journal, it's just written. There's no pictures because I'm not a craft person, but it's just, this is what I want to do in so many weeks. And then there's steps to get there. Yeah. And so for some people, it's words, pictures, quotes, scriptures, or symbols that represent where you want your marriage or life to be in the next year, 5 years, or even a decade, which scares a lot of people, right?
It does.
But we also know that after 18 years of this, when we sit down and think about where we want to go, both as individuals and as a family, a lot of the tension is gone because we're moving towards the same goals. And so a lot of the stuff we talk about, communication, honesty, trust, respect, all of that stuff is reinforced because we're moving towards the same goals, right?
Yeah.
We talked a couple episodes ago about share your dreams and direction of where you want to go, even if they're different. Your business and professional goals are not the same as mine.
No.
But I'm your biggest cheerleader. Like I will tell anybody this, that what's the next thing? Where are you going? What's the next step? And I'm asking myself that. I mean, to a point, right? In my role, there's only so many many steps up. And then from there you just make where you're at better.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's simple applications, and one of the things that I do to kind of help keep me focused is I work off of multiple screens at my computer, and my backgrounds, I've always had pictures of the beach. And for me, it's that constant reminder of this is why I'm working. And like, even though I just have a thing about not putting my family's pictures out too many places, just as a protection for my kids. But I always put the beach because that is my happy place. Like that is one of my favorite places to be, with you, with my kids, even by myself. And some of my favorite memories are at the beach. And so for me, you know, we all have those days where we're going into work and it's like, I really would rather be anywhere but here. It helps keep me focused. And, you know, those days that I just don't wanna, I'm coming to work, I'm putting my nose to the grind to be able to provide these happy memories for my kids, for my family. Can you put Siri off?
Like, yeah.
Goodness gracious.
I didn't realize she was going to talk to us.
I was like, she's super sensitive today. But that's something simple for me. But I also think about like, it's also in the simple things of like, you know, you and I have changed like health-wise habits at different points in our marriage. And I often think about the times that like, and I know you never did it on purpose, but like if I'm trying to be a little bit more health conscious, there's sometimes where you have not been on that same wavelength and vice versa. And it always fails because I'm sorry, but if I am eating a salad and you are eating a Reese's peanut butter cup, I'm going to want the Reese's peanut butter cup. And because we're not on that same wavelength, it's doomed to fail. And so in something as simple as a diet or trying to eat more healthy, if your partner's not on the same wavelength with you, you're going to fail. Well, you can apply that same principle to finances or life goals. Because if your spouse is wanting to, you know, and not that it's right or wrong, but if someone is in a spend phase and you're in a savings phase, you're both going to get irritated because you're not in the same space.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it's not just visual stuff, right? It's almost a manifestation of where you want to be.
Yeah.
When you create a roadmap for your future, because like I have professional goals, you have professional goals in our current jobs.
Yes.
But we also have other businesses like this one. We also have four other business ideas that we're working towards that work towards our bigger goals of where we want to be and the legacy, if you will, that we want to leave for our kids and our grandkids. That if we're not working through a roadmap to those things, and it's not that we have to get it right every time, right? Because the map changes. Right? We moved.
Hello.
But if you don't have some sort of direction, you're just drifting through life hoping that things work out.
Yeah.
And that just, it could work out, but it could not. And you could be stuck somewhere and you sit on your couch eating Doritos at 55 trying to figure out which way's up because you didn't have a goal. I'm not 55 and I don't like Doritos. So it's not me.
But I mean, realistically, like if you're just constantly living in the moment, which again, nothing wrong with, but there's a time and a place to live in the moment. But if you're constantly living in the moment, you're not going to be able to retire well. If you ever get to retire, You're not going to be able to spend money on that big vacation. You're not going to be able to do some of these big picture things because if you're constantly living in the moment, you're never going to have money saved up.
Sure.
And you're not going to be able to do all those things. So that's why, like, when we talk about setting goals, it's going to help shape those small decisions and those small steps to help you get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you want to take an all expenses paid trip to Europe for just $5,000, it's probably not realistic. But, you know, I don't know. I haven't done the research. But if you want to do that in a month, is that realistic? If you have no savings, your credit card's maxed out.
Sure.
But if you want to do it next year, then maybe you don't eat out every day.
That's where I was going with that. I was like, I was thinking way more practical. I was like, you know, choosing to go, like we're going diving, right?
Yeah.
We're choosing to go diving. That's a big trip for us.
It is.
And for us to make that work, that's a lot less trips to Red Robin.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's like the decisions. There's a line between decision and discipline. The decision theoretically is already made for you, and then it's the discipline to stick to the goal. Like, you know, for us, dinner is $175 every time we go out. Oh my gosh. I
know.
I keep putting my hand on it, and it's designed to say what time it is when you put your hand on it. I didn't make. Yeah.
So many jokes.
Anyway.
But I know where you're saying. When you've been with someone long enough, you know what they're thinking.
Yes.
But no, it's that same step, you know, decision and discipline. It's making the choice in the moment because there's always going to. Oh, someone said something the other day, and I don't remember what his name was. But like former Olympian, fantastic. But he said. There are always excuses, but opportunities are rare. And that really struck a chord in me. And his name was Charles something. He's a former Olympian runner. I can't remember his last name. Just fantastic speaker. Anyways, because it was through work. But he said that, and it really just struck a chord in me of like, there's always going to be that excuse, you know, your friends are going to invite you out to dinner, but if you go out to dinner, that's, you know, $100, $200 or whatever it is for your normal night out, that is not going to be put towards your trip or towards the down payment on your house or whatever that next step is. If you don't have that next step, you're going to say yes, because if you're living in that moment, you're going to say yes. But you know what? Maybe you've made a budget and you said, I'm going to limit going out to once per week or twice per week, depending on what your goals are set up to. Well, if you've already hit that, you know what? Maybe you've already made a commitment to going out with someone on Saturday night, or maybe you've already gone out twice this week and that extra time is really going to do you in. Is it worth going out? And, you know, the other side of that is if you go out tonight, does that mean that next week you don't go out? So having that goal is going to help you to form some of those decisions. And, you know, maybe you don't buy cookies from Crumble. Maybe you just make your own. I love Crumble cookie, by the way.
Sure.
But that's why I love vision boards, goal setting, whatever you want to call it. It really helps you to get yourself in that mindset because, you know, going back to if you want to be the boss, what are the steps to get you there? Maybe you need to take a couple of college courses. Maybe you need to get your degree, or maybe you need to get some hands-on learning and learn a new skill. Maybe you need to learn a new system. Or maybe you need to change your department to get more experience in another area that can help you to get to that point.
Sure.
And so that's why it's so important. Like, even sometimes you have to sidestep. Like, my current role, I just recently took a lateral move, which is going to give me more experience in another area, which is going to help me to get to my ultimate goal. And that may be 6 months down the road. It may be a year from the, but I know that learning these new skills is going to help me along the way. And so sometimes we need to think about whether it's a personal choice. I want to buy a house. So maybe I don't get the frilly apartment with all of the bells and whistles. Maybe I get a smaller apartment, or maybe I get an apartment with less amenities so that I can, save some money and get that house.
Sure. When you take time to set goals together, you create clarity, momentum, and excitement, but you also make better financial decisions, better parenting choices, and in some cases, better career moves because you know what you're working towards.
Yes.
And then it also creates a sense of partnership, right? Because you're doing it together, right? It forces you to talk. It forces you to dream. And in some cases, maybe it's compromise, right? Driven a lot of really crappy cars because we just needed a car.
Yes.
Right? But it builds a deeper sense of partnership because you're working on it together. Mm-hmm. Cool.
And less arguing.
About things that don't matter.
Yeah, well, but it's less arguing about...
I did not want to put glitter in paint in our old house. Now, it looked really good when we were done, but there's glitter everywhere.
I loved that glitter wall. It was so pretty. And I know you hated
making it. I did not mind it.
No, but in reality, when you have that shared sense of goal, and not everybody does this, but there's less sabotage as well.
Yeah. And even not intentional, but just like...
Hopefully it's not intentional.
Yeah, well...
But
there's glitter everywhere. Oh my gosh. So we painted an accent wall in one of our houses.
It was so pretty.
A bright red, like fire engine red, right?
It was so pretty.
And we wanted it to sparkle. So we put craft glitter inside the paint and
ultra fine glitter.
Stirred it up.
Oh, so pretty.
And it looked really good. Mm-hmm. There's glitter everywhere.
But to be fair, you mixed it inside. That's an outside.
I mixed it in the garage. There's glitter still in that garage. We haven't lived there in 4 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, vision boards.
Do them.
When you come back and watch the next episode, we will get super practical on what to do because we're out of time for this one. So you'll have to come back and we will walk through the process of kind of how we do it. And a lot of it is for us, it's different. So for like work, I take a week and I go camping by myself and I vision out at least the next year in detail and the next 3 years and 5 years and so on in some rough form. But for us, it's we kind of take a monthly check-in and just make sure, is this where we're still going? Mm-hmm. And then every so often, we spend a lot of time in the car.
We do.
And so we don't necessarily have to take time off to do goal planning. We're going to be in the car for 8 hours today. Let's talk about these things.
And we're purposeful though, because there's been a couple of times where we don't need to talk about stuff and we're just kind of whatevering. But then there's other times when we're like, ooh, this would be a really good time to talk about fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And so either we will bring a notebook or take notes or do something like that. Or I will text you so that we don't forget about it because I don't drive if I don't have to. I get in trouble, FYI. It's not that that I can't drive. I like to go fast.
Just a little bit. Anyway, all right. Hopefully this helps. Again, we are not mental health professionals. We're just taking a practical look today at things that can help your marriage be better. If you need a therapist, go find one. Until then, we will see you next time. We'll get super practical in all of this about steps you can do to make your own vision board or process or whatever you want to call it. Until then, like, subscribe, tell us what else you want to talk about, comment. Go to our website, mywifestilllikesme.com, and you can read about this at some point. It will be there. Until next time, see ya.